All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our next session of CME Palooza Spring. I am Scott Kober, the co-producer of CME Palooza, and I would like to welcome you to the next session, which is entitled The Mass Provider. This session is sponsored by ACHL. Our moderator for this session is Nina Taylor. Nina is the Vice President for Learning and Education at the American Society for the Radiation Oncology. So before we begin this session, as with all of our sessions, I would like to thank the sponsors of CME Palooza Spring, our gold sponsors, Med Learning Group, Physicians Education Resources, Projects and Knowledge, our silver sponsors, Peer Audience, Academic CME, ACHL, Integrity Continuing Education, Hippocrates, and Platform Q Health Education. Our bronze sponsors, Antidote Education Company, PBI, CMEology, Haymarket Medical Education, Vidnico Medical Education, Medscape Education, RMEI Medical Education, Global Education Group, Real CME, Answers in CME, Helio CME, Creative Educational Concepts, Integritas Communications, Infograph Ed, Prova Education, DKB Med, CME Outfitters, Evolve Medical Education, Spire Learning, Red Med Ed, Foresight Learning, and Excalibur Medical Education. So we're going to try to get to some questions. This is a busy session, but if you have questions of our panelists, of our contestants, you can use the Creative Educational Concepts text line to send in a question. The number here is 267-666-0CME, or you can tweet your question using the CME Palooza hashtag. So this is a play along at home session. So folks, hopefully we'll use Poll Everywhere to try to play along and guess our contestants during this session. So we'll be incorporating audience response question via the Peer Audience ARS system, which is Poll Everywhere. You can either download the Poll Everywhere app and join the presentation entitled CME Palooza 005, or type in the following URL in your web browser and you can read that yourselves. One final thing, so please note that the opinions, discussions, and or conclusions expressed are those of our panelists and do not represent an endorsement by or position of their employer, parent company, or affiliate. So with that, I am going to turn this over to Nina. So she's going to sort of explain what we're going to be doing here for the next 55 minutes and get us started with our first contestant. So Nina, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to The Mass Provider. I am your host, Nina Taylor. And no, I was not asked to host this session because I look closest to Niecy Nash and CME. I am so excited to have you join us this afternoon with what I'm hoping is something that is exciting, informational, and slightly mysterious. Before we get started, I would like to show a little love and appreciation to Scott and Derek for their amazing work all of these years on CME Palooza. So thank you both for your dedication to our community and bringing us all together in this time virtually. To join in a little fun, head over to Twitter with the hashtag CME Palooza. Drop in your favorite dancing GIF as we do a Soul Train line to honor Scott and Derek. That's for you guys. Also, I'd like to extend a thanks to our sponsors as well for their contributions to make it all happen. So how is this going to work? It's pretty simple. We've got 5 contestants who are major contributors in CME. We'll bring each contestant on one by one with their cameras off. We'll introduce to you their masked identity and read to you their clue descriptors and show you 3 visual clues per contestant. I will then open it up to our panelists to ask yes or no questions of each of the contestants to crack the code on who this mysterious person in CME might be. Our global virtual audience, you can join in on the fun too by submitting your guesses via Poll Everywhere at the same time. Be sure to keep it locked in because I'll be kicking it over to the audience from time to time. The panelists are divided into their final guessing teams. And so it'll be kind of a male versus female final guessing team. Once each contestant is unmasked, I will then kind of turn into Oprah a little bit and talk to them for a few minutes about how their organizations evolved in a pandemic year. Will there be tears? I don't know. Will the Queen of England live tweet us? Most likely. So now let's turn our attention to our illustrious panelists. They have a very difficult job this afternoon, figuring out these Scooby-Doo clues and figuring out if Miss Peacock bopped somebody over the head in the observatory with a candlestick. But first, let's show out and show up for our panelists. First up, we've got Mark Crawford, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Array. He has a very awesome background as well that is great for dropping things and extrapolating. I'd also like to say hello and welcome to Riaz Baksamusa, who serves as the Associate Director of Independent Medical Education and Medical Affairs at Astellas Pharma. Hey. I'd also like to say hey girl, hey to Lisa Ray, who is Vice President of Educational Development at Peer Audience. And rounding out the panel is Allison Keckel, who is Vice President of Education Strategy at Integrity Continuing Education. So glad you all are joining us. Okay, so the moment that we are all waiting for. Panelists, are we ready?
Yes, we are. And Nina, the only tears are going to come from Lisa and Allison when we win. So just be prepared for those. There's going to be a lot of tears.
All right, I'm just saying, like, it's anybody's game at this point. I mean, audience, pick your favorites as well. Help them out along the way. So we're going to meet our very first masked provider. So drop on in the Delta Darling. Here are your clues for the Delta Darling. My hometown is Western Pennsylvania, is known as the Christmas tree capital of the world. That's the first clue. I love water, swimming, sailing, ice skating, whitewater rafting, you name it. I even have some experience with water skiing. My coach only told me once or twice that I was acting like a girl. While I can be a bit cavalier, I've spent the last 30 years with the same organization, taking on roles that have been both consistent and varied, but have always focused on the care of others. My favorite animals are horses, panthers, and dogs, especially boxers. So there are 3 visual clues for the Delta Darling. This is our first visual clue. So we're gonna get in there. Looks a little, there's a little ice skating popping. Very cold. This is definitely a screensaver of some sort. It looks delicious. It looks like, I don't know, very diabetic.
An old iPhone. An old iPhone.
Don't be shady, okay? The shade coming off of that one. And this looks very diverse as well. And also might have come off of the internet. Did we steal it? Is it stolen? Who knows? But these are your 3 visual clues. So what say you panelists? We have opportunity for some yes and no questions. Mark, you're up first. Do you have a yes or no question for the Delta Darling?
Oh my goodness. Riaz, you want to kind of collaborate here on our first question? I was going to ask the question of, do you like cats? Riaz didn't think that was going to be powerful enough. So maybe we'll have to go in a different direction. You want to go with your first
let's
one
go
there?
with mine.
Yeah,
So,
go ahead.
So the question is, for the Delta Darling, have you worked in for any 2 different member sections in your CME career?
The Delta Darling, you are muted, so you need to unmute yourself to answer.
No.
No.
And that was a very
Come on, Riaz, I expect better. She said she worked at the same organization for 30 years.
Okay, I'll take that.
Ouch.
Right.
Ouch. Good start.
It's better than the cat one.
All right, ladies, your question.
Can we go back to the cat question?
Do we rotate on questions, Nina? Can I ask a question?
Up on you. Let's go.
Or Lisa, do you want to ask it?
Go for it.
Do you work at an academic medical center?
Yes.
Ooh, yes. And it was a little bit of a voice changey yes. Gents, what say you?
I was going to ask, this is probably not going to be the case, but do you typically exhibit at the Alliance conference?
Wait, oh yeah, it's yes or no.
No. Nope.
No.
Nope. And a little smoke came out of Mark's ears trying to get that one out, but that would be a no. All right, ladies, over to
I
you.
have another question.
Yes, on over.
Do you partner with medical education companies on accreditation?
Yes.
Ah, okay. The ladies are killing it on the yes. Gents, do you just want to forego all of you? Okay, all right. Gents, on over to you.
Oh my goodness. Riaz, you got anything?
Well, wait, are we guessing now who it is?
Yeah, we got to no.
I can guess one. Here, hang on.
Wait,
Mark, I'm gonna.
if we
I'm gonna ask
can we,
you, hang on.
if we guess and we get it wrong, are we penalized?
No, there's no.
You only get
penalty.
one guess?
Yeah,
All
we
right,
got one
hey,
guess.
Riaz, go.
Mark,
for it.
I just texted you one.
Yeah. All right. Should we?
All right.
Wait, I want to see who the audience is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
I'm
audience,
kind of curious.
yeah, the audience, if you take a look at the screen, you have the link there for Poll Everywhere. You can drop in your guess as to who the Delta Darling might be. Is there any action on Twitter?
You want to go? Let's go with that one, Riaz.
All right, yeah, that's who I actually think it's Jan Balmer. That's who I had said, and I swear I texted that to Mark before the first thing popped up.
He
So
sure
that's
did.
my choice.
Hey, our choice.
Our choice. Okay.
Thank you. It's a team here. It's a team.
All right.
All right, I'll bring you up there.
We've got
Thank you.
Balmers coming in. We've got Mrs. Claus popping off. We've got Michelle
Obama.
Lisa, can I make? Are we?
All right. So,
Yeah, you guys can pick someone else.
so ladies, what say you?
Did you have somebody you want to go? Go
I
for
just
it.
texted to you.
Yeah.
Bonnie Bixler.
Okay. All right. So Bonnie Bixler. Gents, you all were going with who?
Jan Balmer.
Jan Balmer.
All right. And I think we're going to go ahead and lock in those answers. Is that everybody's final answer? Yes. And let's unmask this provider. It is none other than, drum roll. We're bringing.
Yay! Good job, Riaz.
All right, director.
All right, we're halfway to our test audience here.
Yeah.
That was good already.
Awesome. Welcome.
Welcome.
Darling, to the game.
Oh, thanks. It was fun. I think the questions were too easy. I think I gave too many clues, but that's all right.
Not enough. Never enough. It was just that the guys were smarter.
Or luckier.
Well, they actually picked you, and I didn't know we could pick you too. So, what happens if we both pick the same person?
Yeah, you can if you want to cheat.
Yeah. All right. So Jan, just a couple of questions about what happened last year in the pandemic, and did you have a kind of a story or a silver lining moment that your organization came through with the pandemic?
Yeah, it was a really rough year. I'll be really honest. My entire staff were furloughed for 9 weeks in the summer, which was not the silver lining. I think the silver lining is that we became a joint accredited provider and are reframing everything we're doing to actually meet the needs of the entire health system in a very different kind of way and in a much more streamlined way. And I have to say my staff did a superb job of pivoting to virtual activities and hybrid and blended activities. We have a lot of experience in web-based as well, but we actually were able to turn one conference around in less than 48 hours. So I think, I think it's a really interesting time, and I think our profession is going to be significantly different moving forward. But I'm very proud of my staff, and I think they've done a real yeoman's work in terms of addressing all of the challenges. Even though we didn't have a lot of COVID cases here, the state shut down any elective health care or any of those kinds of things, which had a huge financial impact for us. So it's going to be interesting and fun moving forward, but I'm thrilled we are joint accredited.
Yeah, you mentioned that the industry will be significantly impacted and definitely will change moving forward. You know, if you could pinpoint a key change that you could see or a suggestion for the industry based on your experiences to really move it forward, what would that be?
It would be that we do a better job and more often collaborate. I think there's still too many times where we're all, I mean, go out and Google COVID CE and see how many duplicative activities we all did.
Right.
I think we've got to get smarter and better about collaborating and really be thoughtful about what our strengths are and how we can collaborate with each other to actually not just provide the education, but to actually get it moved into applied learning. So I think organizational change is going to be another huge piece of what we need to do in moving forward, is helping to facilitate organizational change.
Awesome. And final question for some of the folks that might be beginners in the session. Can you go ahead and define what it means to be joint accredited and really that what it took in that lift?
Yeah, so joint accredited means that is a combined accreditation. The Accreditation Council for Pharmacy Education, the ANCC, which is the American Nurses Credentialing Center, and the ACCME combined to create joint accreditation as an alternative. It took them a good 12 to 15 years to really get it sorted out, but there are now 9 accrediting bodies that you can designate credit for through joint accreditation. Our institution was coming up for both nursing reaccreditation and medicine reaccreditation in the same year. And we were doing a lot of collaborative work. So we elected to pivot and move into becoming a joint accredited provider.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining our show. Delta Darling, Jan Balmer, we're excited you're here. Thank you. Round of applause. And please, if you're on social, send some love Jan's way. And way to go, panelists. You guys crushed it on the first go. Thank you to the audience. I feel like you guys need to send
1-0.
audience. All right.
Those are fighting words, buddy.
Bring it. Bring it.
All right, so let's go ahead and tap in contestant number 2, Dr. Dimples. I'm into it. All right, here is your clues for Dr. Dimples. Panelists, are you ready?
Sure.
Ready.
All right. So, Dr. Dimples, my family may have wanted me to be a gardener, but I had other plans. Time and time again, I took the path less traveled and followed my heart across the world and across the country. 2015 marked a new professional role and responsibility for me where I may make the rules, but like my life, I've broken them too as I work to create a family of firsts and navigated many highs and lows. What I lack in height, I make up for in heart. There's nary a long, hard road that I haven't taken a run at. Okay, so let's get into some of these visual clues. All right.
So this is the Halfpenny Bridge in Ireland.
All right, and we've got here a Boston Marathon medal. And
this is a diabetes kit.
All right, so these are your 3 visual clues. Panelists, let's get into some yes or no questions for Dr. Dimples. Let's go ahead and start with the ladies this time.
Do you live west of the Mississippi?
A little geography, Dr. Dimples.
I'm not actually sure the answer to that question.
That's frightening.
It's close. It's very close.
Love that. All right, gents.
Okay, I got one. You want to add, Mark?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Are you, because I'm trying to just figure out height a little bit on this. So are you under 5'6"?
No.
No.
So he is
Right.
not a shorty
All right, so you're
dude.
fine. So-
His
What?
pronouns are not my little teacup. So back to the ladies.
And I am,
Have you been
I'm not
in
west of
CME?
Mississippi, by the way.
You do?
I know I am east of the Mississippi.
East of the Mississippi. Okay. Were you in CME before 2015?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Gents?
Are
Go,
you
Mark.
are you part of a mech?
Nope.
Nope.
Ooh, no,
Oh, okay.
not at all.
All right. I think I got one here.
Let's
So-
do
Wait. I think it's their turn.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
We're in one round of some questions, ladies.
Are you a commercial supporter?
Nope.
No. All right, gents, over to you.
Okay, so yes or no? Well, no, this is going to give it away to the girls.
Yeah,
Um,
don't give it away.
I don't want to give it away. Okay, so
I think it's
do
time.
you work for the medical education communication company section, member section?
No.
All
Okay.
right.
I think I got it.
So we've got
I think it's time.
Mark, I just texted it to you. I just texted you.
I think we go. I think that's it.
I think it is. So can we guess
this is
first so
correct.
that they copy us?
Okay, so we're actually gonna open it up a little bit. We're gonna drop in, open it up to the audience as well. So who is Dr. Dimple? So go ahead.
Yeah, that's who we had it.
And
See, Mark, I'm always good. I'm always good on this.
But here's the thing: you can't actually say it, even if it shows up, because you could still steal the answer. All right. So our audience is coming in with Dave Davis. We've got some Graham up in there. All right. So gents, what say you?
We're going with Graham McMahon.
Yeah.
All right. And ladies?
Same.
Graham.
All right. Let's go ahead and not Sir Graham.
Ooh. All right. You gotta see
All right,
this.
let's go ahead and unmask our provider. Let's turn these cameras on. Stop it. Hey, Dimple. So nice to see you.
I thought I was making this hard for you, but you guys saw right through me.
Yeah, they crushed it. How's it going? Welcome.
It's going great. It's really nice to see you all.
Yeah.
So nothing's really changed in the last year, huh?
Yeah, nothing. All right.
We've been sitting on our hands.
I'm actually going to even open this up to Twitter. This is where we roast you. This is now the roast of Graham.
Nice.
What did you sign yourself up for?
There's nothing I haven't seen or heard. So
With like all the mail. All right. So what's happening? It's been a rough, bumpy year. COVID-19 made everybody's life difficult. I don't know what's going on.
we're making everyone's life easier, not more difficult. But no, gosh, it's been a hugely challenging year for us as an organization, but for more importantly for everyone in the CE community. But it's also been a year, as Jan said, of silver linings too. A lot of remarkable heart, a lot of energy, a lot of dedication, and a lot of deployment of critical education to help physicians and other health professionals provide care for a new disease state. So, from our perspective, we rolled out a variety of facilities to make it easier to deploy COVID-related CE. We deployed a search engine for educational programming, learntovaccinate.org, which is still up as a resource for the community, literally used tens of thousands of times. We happened to roll out standards in December, despite all the challenges, and moved through that process, and just tried to, and we transitioned our whole meeting and our whole educational enterprise online as well. So we've tried to walk the walk and talk the talk in the same way as our CE providers do, but continue to be as supportive as we can of their terrific work they're doing.
That's awesome. As you look across the industry, what was something that you were really proud of, working with literally all of the providers, medical specialty societies, and MECs? What was something that you kind of sat through and were really proud of through the pandemic?
I think we were enormous beneficiaries of the flexibility that was in our system and the diversity in our system. Many physicians who never did ICU care before were suddenly able to be retrained, in most cases by their CE providers, about how to do that, how to don and doff, back in the days of PPE. Those really simple but absolutely critical and life-saving endeavors were in most cases managed by CE departments all across the country. Mm-hmm. And you saw major providers, medical societies, switch to online learning, not just recording PowerPoint presentations and putting them online, which would have been deadly, but really thinking about adult learning and the needs of the community and responding quickly and effectively to meet those needs in their educational programming. So I just think there's huge pride that should be borne out from the CE community, especially in trying times. Like Jan said, many staff were furloughed. Many CE providers were left in their lonesome and working from home without access to their traditional tools. And they still got it done. And they're surviving and thriving. And that just makes me incredibly proud.
All right. Give us a little peek behind the curtain about what's new and what's next at ACCME, for 2021 and beyond.
Well, we're going through our process right now with our board of strategic planning to answer exactly those questions. Probably a lot of our future is about facility with data management and how we'll interact with licensing authorities and boards and make sure we can provide a service so that we don't have to be producing certificates, etc. for lots of people. So that type of a process and managing a central CME data dashboard is probably a big part of where we'll ultimately be going.
Awesome. Scott, do we have any questions from the audience?
And I know that we're kind of always crunched for time with this, so
okay.
So yeah, I think we can thank Graham and move on to our next contestant.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you all.
All right.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and drop in the Invisible Woman. All right. So for the clues, I've earned a Doctor of Philosophy, which I've put to good use in CME. I've spent my whole CME career on the supporter side, working for 3 different companies all along the East Coast. Apparently, I stand out in a crowd, and not just because I'm tall. People tell me I have a great smile and laugh. So we'll get into 3 visual clues. Okay, so this is the first visual clue that we have here.
This is the female version of the thinker.
All right, the second. We've got
I got it.
OSP logo. And then the final, which is a something I would like to get, COVID vaccine. All right, gents, over to you. So for some Q&A, yes or no's for the Invisible Woman.
You feeling pretty
Mark,
confident?
I don't need any questions. I know who it is.
Wow.
Who are you
Wow.
trying to be today? What is this?
I know who it is too.
Wait, Allison,
I
make
just-
your guess. We got to go first once.
I just gave it to Mark.
All right, so I feel
Should
like
we?
We should just.
You can ask a question though. Let's ask a question. That's fine. So,
All right, I'll ask a question
No,
here.
no,
How
no.
about
Let's just guess. No, come on.
Okay, like,
Are you scared?
here's the thing. I think
Mark, go ahead.
let's go right for the smoke. Let's just
Okay,
do
so I'm
Right.
going to beat Riaz to the punch here. Hi, Hillary. How are you?
no,
no?
That's
no.
fake news. That was fake news. All right,
Oh.
Jen, what do you think?
Wait, Mark, didn't she say that she never worked for the supporter side, right? Or did she say she
Only
No,
works-
she's only
Only
worked
worked
for
for
yeah,
Oh,
only work for supporters.
See, it sounds like you guys
Three-
have these questions.
Three different ones along the East Coast.
yeah. Okay, then I was gonna guess Hillary too.
Boom. Let's get into these questions. All right.
So it's really not? Like, I'm in denial.
It is Hillary. It is.
Oh,
No, she doesn't. She
Doesn't
doesn't
matter.
work for. She doesn't work for a supporter right now, though.
Oh wait.
She started. She has her own.
Yeah, I know, but still,
Hillary's in the chat hanging out like, no, that's not me.
no, it's not Carolyn.
Yeah, that's not. It's not her.
Not Karen. No, Beth has been on both sides. Karen's been on both sides.
So do you guys
Who?
want to ask some yes or no questions?
Yeah. Let's.
I'm sorry. Can I take
We're
another
both
guess?
wrong.
Lisa wants to take another guess. We just want to like knock you out.
Yeah.
I know. Is it Sue McGinnis?
Ooh, ladies.
Wow.
Whoop, whoop. That's awesome.
We were gonna say Sue McGinnis too.
These are wise. I saw the vote of like it's like all confusion right up.
We let you steal Jan Balmer from us. We're not letting you steal this one.
like full confusion.
Steal anything.
Well, but here's the thing. It then ties things up. I think it's more fun this way as well, right? Kinda. No.
So it could be Pam Mason or it could be Sue McGinnis out of the two the names that are on the sheet on the screen. Because both of them have worked East Coast. Both of them have only worked on the supporter side.
But do both of them have a doctorate in philosophy?
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't know if either of them.
We're giving final answer.
Yeah. All right.
We're
So
final answer.
Mark, what do you? Mark, I'm gonna let you pick.
What was the degree again?
Doctorate in philosophy.
Yeah, it was a doctor in philosophy.
So I'm gonna go with Sue McGinnis.
I think that's it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Come on. Like, let's bring on the invisible woman. Thank you, audience, for the.
I am so honored to be thought like Pam Mason, Hillary Smith. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I thank you, Mark, for the white background.
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
You will regret that.
No, I
Nice.
challenge.
Nice.
I am challenging Brian. I am challenging Michael Prusty to do something. Very clever.
Very clever. That's there. Welcome to.
Thank you, Nina.
This is, I don't know what this has turned into. It's equal parts train wreck, but also an amazing, great time. Love it. So tell us a little bit about what happened in COVID. How did you fare?
But so first off, I so appreciate the comments that have been said before. I think, yes, a tremendously very difficult year. And I think professionally, but also personally. So I my heart goes out to anyone who lost someone or is dealing with complications. So number one, I think at AZ, our policies really supported us because we were able to wait for providers who had already received proposals or already received grants to figure out how they could flex and pivot, right? We could also continue to review proposals and obviously ask, okay, so how would you translate this to virtual? So I felt very blessed because in this time of uncertainty, I did have certainty when it came to AZ business.
Nice.
And but I really think that was because of our policies and Pam being a leader. And I think it's also because AZ really trusts what we do. They know that we are good with budget acumen and that we're doing what's right for the company. And education must go on. And early on, I heard from Field Medical that their contacts are reaching out and saying, can you send me CME? What CME have you guys been supporting? We need CME. Mm-hmm. So I think the concept of Zoom, lethargy, and that all came later on. I think early on, and So tough year, but I think definitely silver linings.
Yeah, yeah. Did you all see any innovations when it came to grant submissions or any changes in just the process itself?
I think not so much innovations. I think what we saw were people saying, we've got this budget. We want to, instead of having like a satellite symposia live where you've got a meal, can we take that money and can we put it into something else? Can we develop tools? Can we do more Simulives? So it was great to see all that because obviously we wanted to reach the most learners, the maximum number of learners. So it was, I think it was tremendously difficult, like Pam was saying, just in the beginning where, or sorry, Jan, in the beginning where, right, employees furloughed and just the difficulties there, I think we knew that people were struggling, trying to figure out how do we transition this or how do we flex and how do we pivot. So I think innovation is coming now.
Right. Were there changes to your change of scope process? And if so, what were they?
So the beauty thing, again, the policy is fantastic. It really supported us. Our change of scope isn't, at AZ, it's not a burdensome kind of process. So we looked at the change of scope documents that came in. Were the goals of the program the same? Were the learning objectives the same? How were they? What was different about the program? And as long as there weren't huge changes, we could go ahead and approve it without getting other team members involved.
Awesome. What are you looking forward to as we're kind of coming out of 2020, which I personally thought was a dumpster fire. And I stopped calling it the pandemic and started calling it, the panoramic Panera, which I felt like was way more positive than the pandemic because I love sandwiches. And what are you looking forward to? Like coming out of this and is it going back to shows? Is it more education? Is it education that's not about COVID? Like what are you looking forward to the most?
Right. So I think it's in that innovation stage. I think it's really trying to figure out what's going on, what are the learners' needs, meeting the learners where they are. Like in the beginning of COVID, think about how all the healthcare professionals were learning from each other. They were tweeting, right? Think about how journal articles, how many were being published every day. I think there's, I think also people had to look inside because of all the events that took place, right? COVID, losing loved ones, all the racism, the healthcare inequities brought to front line. I think looking at all that and figuring out what does that mean for us? How can we be a better proponent for really help out the healthcare professional? I think it's really looking to dig deeper and use our skills, right? It's not just enough to do a needs assessment or to figure out what the gaps are. We have to go deeper and figure out what are the reasons for that gaps and really address those.
Awesome. Well, thank you, The Invisible Woman. We're so glad to see you. And
now, wait, does anyone want to know why I picked The Invisible Woman?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's funny. So I actually had a conversation with Mike Lepresti one day, and he said, so what superpower would you want? And I thought about it, and I said, I want to be invisible because then I can prank people whenever I want.
Really nice.
So, hey, great fun. You guys are great.
Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks, Sam.
And thank you for sharing everything happening at AstraZeneca. All right, so let's go ahead and tap in our next contestant. We're going to bring in somebody with a yummy identity, Nacho Cheesy. Yeah. All right, so here are the clues for Nacho Cheesy. I spent most of my career in the basement of the Ivory Tower, and I still hunt treasures with a watchful eye on the ins and outs and the comings and goings. The past year presented its share of challenges for me and my organization. So what do we do? An inherent obstinance and quick burst of action resulted in a record-setting, ginormous gathering. You might be thinking that I was the one who shot JR, but it wasn't me. Instead, I'm hanging with the cows in my town, watching them throw around the pigskin and using my VCR to see the last time they were super. My favorite movie character is Nacho Libre. Heavy emphasis on the nachos. Besides, blackjack is in my genes. All right, so let's go on over to the visual clues for Nacho Cheesy. So here we have the Lone Star of Texas, I believe. All right, we're gonna get into visual clue number 2. All right, it looks like we've got some chromosome 21 abnormality. All right, we're gonna get into visual clue number 3. Looks like someplace that I wouldn't want to be.
A longhorn bull.
It just looks like you don't want to wear heels there. So let's get into some Q&A for Nacho Cheesy. All right, let's head over to the gents.
Mark, I'm going to let you go with your question there.
Okay. I'll go with my kind of fallback here. Are you part of a mech?
No.
No. All right, ladies, what say you?
Would you consider yourself a crazy sock wearer?
Absolutely.
Ooh.
We have our answer. Lisa, you want to go ahead and tell them?
No.
All right.
It's all you. We're on the same page.
All right. It's nice to have you, Andrew Krim. The guys thought they could compete, but
no, I actually think it's someone else. So let's see. Let's see what the audience thinks, though.
The ladies kind of jumped.
Sorry.
Yeah. they forgot the rules of gameplay.
I'm sorry. We don't play by the rules very well.
So they officially did not get credit for
Happy
that.
to be here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's so happy.
Just
We're happy to also have you. And in doing that, we helped us with the time, I guess. I'm just saying, this is a dumpster fire. We're officially off the rails.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just lost
And we get a point just for that. You know, we didn't even get to guess that one.
Yeah, it's not fair. They cheated.
I'm all for that.
We'll take it.
So, Andrew, this is what happens when you spend about a week talking trash on email. So this is what happens.
I'm not familiar with that at all.
So happy to have Andrew Krim here. Fellow Medical Education Specialty Society. Let's talk about it. Rough year, right? Rough. Annual meeting. What happened?
Annual meeting, there's nothing I'm going to add to the CME aspect that hasn't been talked about or anyone else hasn't experienced over the last year. Our first annual meeting, we made the call 2 weeks before the thing happened. It was supposed to be held in California. We flipped it in 2 weeks to an online format. That was a lot of fun. That's where most of my hair went. Beyond that, we've been at that. We've been at it for a year. We have another annual meeting starting in about a week of a different format. We've evolved our electronic formats in response to the pandemic. Went all in on digital delivery. Redesigned our conferences. Full transition, digital poster sessions, things like that. One of the cool things that we did. We listened to our members on what they were having trouble doing, and a lot of that was most of our members are osteopathic physicians, and they are part of the osteopathic continuous certification process, the AOA's version of maintenance and certification. So we created a quality improvement activity that could easily be done even through remote visits to help them earn their OCC points for their recertification. Had fantastic participation in that. We did new communication strategies for our members. We created new networking opportunities like Zoom happy hours. And we launched some wellness activities where we would send out Wellness Wednesday app pushes and emails and posts. And we even used some of our surveys to assess their self-reported wellness over time. and then provided different resources based on those. We provided COVID resources, where to attain funding for some of the government loan programs that were going out. And then we just randomly would call members and check on them. How are you? Anything you need? But I think the most important thing we did was we passed a board resolution never to use the word pivot or the phrase the new normal again. And it was punishable by groan, sighs, and eye rolls from everyone in the virtual room. So
I think you gotta add the phrase "you're on mute" to that.
Yeah.
you're on mute.
All right. Well, I like have a new phrase about medical specialty societies. Like, you have your medical specialty society gold, which is really, you kind of think it's the member, but it's the staff, right? And so kind of thinking about the people that you manage. And actually, I'm going to do a quick little shout out because I know some of my team is here to support. And I love you guys. Thanks for coming. Talk about managing last year, managing your staff and managing during COVID, and what you learned about your team, but also about yourself and your management style.
So this was really the cool thing is we were already a remote office. We maintain a remote office. We were doing this before the pandemic, so that made it a little easier. We had the tools in place to be nimble and to change like that. But we intentionally increased our team communication. We would have, instead of one huddle in the morning, we would have multiple huddles throughout the day. And we committed ourselves to flexibility with our staff. We know that everyone on our staff has different pressures that they're dealing with due to COVID that they've never dealt with before. They have kids at home that are doing homeschooling for the first time ever while they're trying to maintain a career. Just finding toilet paper for a while was a challenge.
Yeah.
So we committed to that flexibility. If somebody wasn't at their desk or wasn't available for a phone call, we were like, okay, we'll catch up with you later, instead of, hey, where are you? We also encourage professional development more than ever. As people kind of came into their own spaces and were kind of held into their own spaces for a longer period of time, we wanted them to reach out and develop themselves. So we encouraged everyone. We would identify potential professional development opportunities, but we also asked them to find those for themselves as well. We had planned to grow our staff a little. We put that on pause because we felt like we had enough to deal with. But the flexibility was the key for everything that we did. The management styles had to adjust to that, and I think we did that successfully.
And so overall, what are you most proud of, coming out of 2020?
Selfishly, as the director of education, it really emphasized the need for a true learning management system to our leadership about why we needed something like that. That became a very easy sell for me, and we're rolling down that road hard and fast now. I'm also most proud of how we responded as an organization. We saw the challenge, we mapped the challenge out, we plowed ahead. This has been said a couple of times today. We built the airplane as it was taking off. And every organization did this to some extent. But it was great. Reflecting on 2020, we look back and I could not be more proud of this organization and the way we responded, the way we helped our members who were experiencing their own troubles, who were furloughed, who were suddenly faced with telemedicine visits that they never have had to do in their life. What kind of trainings we provided them, what kind of resources we provided them, and how we tried to make their lives easier. So
awesome. Andrew, thank you for joining the Mass Provider.
Thank you. I was happy to be here, and it's great to see everyone.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're down to our final contestant. Okay. This has been, I don't know about you guys, but I've been having an amazing time. And thank you to all of our contestants and the audience that's been chiming in, and everybody on Twitter. I'm loving the vibes. So our final drop-in, the Chameleon, which I agree is a fitting name. Here is the clue. I was always sure I was going to be a doctor. I was the kid in my scout troop that was always carrying the first aid kit. One rotation through a wound care clinic in college ended that dream quickly, along with multiple doctors telling me to get out while I could. So, at a loss in college on what to do next, I delayed the inevitable and went off to grad school to become a scientist. After earning a doctorate in molecular pharmacology, I became dissatisfied with the academic life and stumbled into a role in the CME world. I kind of feel like that's how we all got here. Now I think I've finally found a good home to combine my interest in math, science, storytelling, and design as I focus on the outcomes process of continuing education. After hours, you may find me reading, mixing up a new cocktail recipe, catching up on my always 2 days behind journal, or slowly plodding down a dusty southern running trail. So we're going to get into some of the visual clues for the Chameleon. So here we have some charts and some data. All right. The second visual clue is a CEO. And then the third, we've got an aerial shot of Birmingham. All right, so let's get into some Q&A. We're going to do a little Q&A. We're not going to blind jump. We're doing Q&A. Yes or no? All right, yes or no. Ladies, up first, some Q&A.
Lisa, I'll let you go first.
All right, I shouldn't ask. It's not going to help anybody else, but have I personally worked with you?
No.
No.
No, I don't know you. All right.
I know. Well, hey, that's, helps me.
All right, Jen.
Is that like a promotional pitch there, Lisa? Have you ever worked with me? If not, let's get in touch. Have you ever used our iPads in your meetings before? No. Let's talk. No, have you? No, seriously though, have you? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes. So I'm going to ask the question of, do you currently work for technically multiple member sections? Like, are you a consultant and a MEC or something like that?
No.
No.
Are you a former colleague of mine?
No.
Did you say no?
No.
He don't know, y'all. Gosh.
I know.
All right, I think we need the audience on this one a little bit.
All right.
But I have a feeling I have one name, but
Do you all have another question?
This is.
Are you recently? Go ahead.
That's.
Are you recently retired?
No.
Oh, I haven't heard of Eric Brady in a long time. We've got some stuff coming in. Come on, audience, help him out. Help him out.
Are you
I
in the Midwest?
Yeah, I think it's Greg's.
Ooh, Mike.
That's it.
it's not Michael Krusty.
Are you in the Midwest?
No.
Let's go with Greg Riaz. I think
Yeah, I'll go with Greg Salinas. That's fine.
All right. Well,
So here's another yes/no question, just to see and solidify before we do our final answer, I guess. Do you improve patient outcomes?
Personally, no.
Personally, no.
We've got about 3 minutes, so if you want to.
All right, so I'm gonna just.
Are we getting ready to lock in some answers?
We are ready.
Yeah. Well,
Riaz, you are also the Chameleon. You're working in both places. All right. So ladies, would you like to go first?
We would like, Lisa, do you want to answer or do you want me to? I'm sorry.
No, it's all you. Go right ahead. We've got a great text chain going on behind the scenes here.
We think it's Greg Salinas.
yeah, we said it's Greg Salinas. We said Greg Salinas.
Riaz and I don't even need a text. We just know what each other's thinking, right? We don't even need a text.
That's actually really
both
scary.
said Greg,
And I
right?
question both of you now more.
Hi, Greg. Welcome.
Hey.
Everybody.
Thank you for joining us. So just a couple of questions. The pandemic, nothing happened, right? It was all good? All good in the hood?
All good over here. Yeah, so like some of the previous contestants are, we were a virtual company, so that aspect of it wasn't that difficult to transition to. I think our main issue was trying to navigate everyone else, and you know, as a role in our company, we're a consultant, so we work with a lot of the other groups, try to help them understand what the impact of their education is. So as they transition, we have to transition quickly too, and really be able to support them as much as possible.
Yeah. So for those that aren't familiar with CE Outcomes, some of our newbies, tell us a little bit about the company.
Sure. So we got our start, you know, as our name suggests, in trying to understand or helping different providers of education understand the impact of their education on clinician performance specifically, and then as Riaz mentioned, in patient outcomes as well. We've transitioned a bit in the last few years to going to the other end and working with groups to understand needs of the community before they start to go after education, whether that's the supporter or the provider of education. So we're on both ends. We're also reaching out a bit into other aspects of assessing education, not just in the CME world, but even in MSLs and other types of education as well.
Awesome. So as you're looking forward to this year and the next, you know, pull the curtain back. What's new and what's next for you all?
Sure. So, you know, I think one of the things that we've really touched on in the last year is not only are we as an organization changing, but we're trying to understand how the learners are changing. You know, as they were forced away from live activities to more online environment, how have they managed that? Are they still getting the education they need? And as it moves forward as well, where are they going to go? Are they going to still prefer that remote education? We've been hearing that, you know, as live events are opening, we've seen a bit of a pushback sometimes from the learners and saying, well, you know, this is actually pretty great for us to get the information education we need without having to leave our offices and our busy practices. There's a lot of backup right now in the medical community, especially in things like the surgical field or other types of clinicians like that. So not having to go somewhere for a week in summer or fall to attend a conference is pretty valuable to them.
All right. And since you're kind of our last contestant, you know, and rounding out this panel and rounding out this session, you know, a piece of inspiration or a piece of advice for our community as we move forward in planning and kind of like seizing the day and taking over the world.
Sure, you're looking for me for that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I guess you know, put on clothes every day. Get out there. Do the best you can.
Because if you just get out there and do the best you can, butt naked, not the same.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm the queen of shade. I feel like Riaz is the king of shade. He says, Greg, as a statistical person, can you tell us if the guys got 5 right and the girls got 4 right with good certainty that you would declare the guys the winner?
Oh, I don't know. That p-value is pretty close. I don't know. I don't think I can call it quite yet. We're gonna need a good fan for that one.
I think we need to ask the audience. I mean,
there you go.
You know.
I mean, I feel like it goes with just faves at this point. So I feel like we're ready to close out. I just thank everybody for joining the Mass Provider. A very special thank you to all of our contestants. Thank you to our panelists, our amazing virtual audience all around. Scott, Derek, you guys are rock stars. And I feel like we're kind of just signing out, the Mass Provider. I don't know if this was fun. Do a survey. Let us know what you think. Rate this better than everything else, just off of me being here alone. And hope to see you again next time, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Nina. Are we gonna wave or are we dancing? Like, what are we doing? Do we work that out? You're just waving.
Just waving and saying goodbye. Thank you, everyone. Our next session is going to start shortly. So just go look on the live page and click the appropriate session link. So thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks to all of our contestants and panelists. And we'll see y'all shortly.
Like
Thanks,
and
guys.
subscribe.
Nina,
Like
Scott,
and
Yeah,
subscribe.
thanks, Nina.